When you were like, "Oh, we have two RSVPs," I was like, "Oh, nobody's gonna show up."
Oh, hello, everyone. Welcome to Community Homeworks. Thank you so much for coming. And thank you for joining us for our first ever women's only workshop. Our Handy at Home Pink series starts today with our instructor, Julie Ryan. She'll be teaching us all about home safety and security. I don't think I said yet, but my name is Sam. I'm the education coordinator here. Um, and if you have any questions, feedback at all, let me know. In the meantime, please sign up if you haven't already. Grab yourself some snacks. Everybody has snacks. There's a restroom up this ramp and to the left, or just follow the signs. My directions are a little mixed up these days, but let's see if there's anything else I need to say. I think we're good. I'll go ahead and let Julie take it away. And please feel free to ask questions throughout. All right. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you, Sam. So my name is Julie Ryan, and I have been teaching a class or two here at Community Homeworks for a few years. And today we are going to talk about home safety and security. And there are handouts. If you two that came in just a minute ago, I think Sam is actually going to get handouts for you. So yeah, if you does anybody else not have them, or did everybody else get them on the way in? Okay. So I'd like to start with a little bit of information about you guys. So if you would tell me your name, and then what is it that made you interested in this class, if you have that, and then just briefly just tell me like if your house is 1 story or 2 stories, and then maybe the year that it was built. So we'll start over here if that's okay. Okay. Mike and Lauren, nice to meet you. And was there something that made you decide to sign up for this? Okay. Yeah, that you'll have that. Okay, Mike and Lauren, thank you. Mhm. Okay. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. And tell me your name one more time. Jennifer, thank you. Mary? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Well, hopefully these classes will give you like a little bit of a leg up and a little confidence to do some things yourself. That did not that you didn't give me a very good vote of confidence there. Okay. 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 Right, right. It is a group effort, so that is a good point. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, that is a real problem. Yeah, thank you for raising that. Um, how long have you had your house? Okay, okay. So, wow, that is crazy. That I've heard that from other people about roofing. That a lot of companies are, a year out in the Kalamazoo area. Um, so we're not going to cover roofing today, but yeah, yeah, right, right, yeah. Okay, thank you for sharing that. So today our workshop again is on home safety and security. So there are learning objectives we have. So we want to make sure that you're prepared for safety issues that come up at your house and security issues like having people go through your yard. Um, want to make sure that you're as safe as you can be in terms of having all the protective things that you're going to want in your house, um, such as smoke detectors and CO detectors. Uh, we're going to briefly talk about radon and lead and asbestos, which fortunately most of you probably are not going to have an issue with. Um, there are handouts as well to give you additional information on some of those things. Um, hopefully, everyone after today will go home and develop a fire escape plan if you don't already have one. And uh, make sure that um, you know what windows you might need to go out of if you end up needing to do that. Um, I don't that we don't have a fire extinguisher, but I hope you all have fire extinguishers at home. I was gonna see if I had an expired one so that we could go out and like shoot it off because most people have never done that, uh, and so you go to actually use it and it can be a challenge. But I did not have an expired one, and I didn't want to have to buy a new one. So, oh, nice, nice, very good. um, Yeah, so we'll talk about those as well, and then we'll talk a little bit about security. Someone mentioned wanting to actually have like an alarm system. I don't actually know who in Kalamazoo does that well, but it's something that I can look into and try to get you some information on. Yeah. And then you'll notice that there are a lot of related workshops, and these are all workshops that are offered here. So if there's something that you'd like more information about on that list, make sure to check out um, the other workshops that are offered. Um, okay, so um, just starting with the most basic, does everyone have homeowners insurance or renters insurance? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Great. All right. So having insurance is a really good place to start so that if you do have a problem, you are covered. Um, Has anybody had a house fire? No? Your mom? Your mom did? Okay. Did she get out okay? Yeah. A lot of damage? Okay. Yeah. She's doing okay now, though? Oh, I thought you said it was your, oh, that makes, okay. I thought you said, okay. I thought it was your mom. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Um, okay. All right. And did you have a, home escape plan, fire escape plan when you had the fire? No? Okay. And since you had the fire, do you have one now? Okay. All right. Well, that is good to know. Um, so, yeah. Hello. Oh, okay. So, first, we're going to talk about smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors. Um, so, who has smoke detectors in their house already? And who knows? You can keep your hand up when you changed the batteries last time. No, no. Okay. Do you know? Was it was it in the spring? Uh huh. Yeah. Okay. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. That little chirping sound. Oh, that's so annoying. Good. So with smoke detectors, even if your smoke detectors are hardwired, they're likely to have a battery backup. So it is important to think about changing the batteries. Um, and you want to do that like twice a year. And one of the easiest ways to do it is to associate it with the time change. So we've got it coming up right now. So hopefully, everybody, when you go home, is going to be like, okay, it's time to change the batteries in my smoke detectors. Um, so there are examples of smoke detectors here. Um, this is a hardwired one. And you can see that even though it's got power coming to it, it also has um, the battery backup. Um, and conveniently, the battery is on the front so that you don't have to take it down, um, which is a very nice feature and does make it more likely that you're going to keep up with the batteries. Um, yeah, go for it. Mm-hmm. Yes, if you're using standard like Duracell or a standard alkaline 9-volt battery, or sometimes they do use double A's. Yeah, you would want to change it, especially if you don't remember when the last time it was changed. And yeah, twice a year is the goal. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. Um, so the other thing to know about your smoke detector is that there are options for batteries, and there are options for time frames that these operate on. So um, they have an expiration date, and smoke detectors are typically good for 10 years. If you have one that's chirping at you and you've replaced the battery and it's still chirping at you, check that date. It might be expired, and they do start chirping if they're 10 years old. Um, so if you would please pass this around Make sure you can find that date on there. And I don't know why 2005 does not seem very old to me, but at the same time, if you bought your house in 2005, your smoke detectors, if you have never had them replaced, are 20 years old. So, yeah, make sure to go check those when you get home. Um,
So you're saying, Mrs. Ryan, that we should replace, if my, I've been in Compton 90.
okay.
So I should replace the smoke detectors.
Yep. You should get new ones because they have a life of 10 years. Yeah. So it's important to make sure that you get the right style. So it's a good idea to bring what you have into a store with you so that you get the same style as you currently have. Like if it's battery or if it's hardwired. Um,
Hardwired, but when I take it,
okay. Yeah. Yeah. And we can talk a little bit more if you have more questions. So, but if you go to the store now to buy new ones or you're replacing your battery, there are options for smoke detectors now that last the whole 10 years. And there are now also options for batteries that last a whole 10 years. So if you know you're not very good about keeping up on the batteries, that is a good option as well. That's the date right there. Yep. Yep. Yeah. And yes, so in Kalamazoo, you can actually go through the Red Cross to get free smoke detectors, and they will set you up with an appointment for a qualified person to come in and install them for you. Yes, yes. So, yeah, if you think you're going to need help with it, make sure to follow up with that. So the two styles that are available are ionization and photoelectric. So the difference is that the ionization ones are more likely to pick up actual fire, and the photoelectric ones are able to pick up smolder better. But either is effective, and they're effective when you have batteries in them and when they're not expired and when you're testing them regularly. So make sure that you use the test button on there to make sure that they're working as well. Anybody remember the last time they tested theirs? No? Okay. Yeah. So you just had yours replaced? Okay, you need yours replaced. Okay, yeah. About 12, yeah. So yeah, you should get those replaced. So everybody feel good about smoke detectors?
the placement of it, should there be a smoke detector in every bedroom, or just make sure there's one on every floor?
So it's a combination. You want to make sure that there's at least one on every floor, and every bedroom should also have one. So if you are talking about the second floor of your house, or I know some of you only have one-story houses, but the way you want to do that is like I'm going to talk about it as a second-story house with like bedrooms primarily up there. You want one in the hallway for the common area, but you also want one in each bedroom. Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. It's very important that you have an adequate amount.
And one in the basement as well?
Yeah, one on every floor. Yep. Yep. So, yeah, basement, first floor, second floor, and then in every bedroom. Yes. So there should be also one on every floor. And it is recommended that there's one in the bedrooms as well, in each bedroom. Uh, I do not know if that is like required by code now, or if it's just one per floor. But yeah, you definitely want one in your bedrooms, and it's a good idea to have one in your basement.
But you can't have it too close to the furnace because it will come off all the time, correct? The carbon monoxide detector.
It should not. So that is a good point. Carbon monoxide detectors, it's they can be referred to as like a death alarm. So they're picking it up at a level that it's a significant uh, health emergency right now, but there can be lower levels of CO that wouldn't set it off. And your furnace, if it's operating properly, should not be kicking out enough carbon monoxide that it would go off. That would be bad. So that does bring us into carbon monoxide. Again, this is a killer. If your carbon monoxide detector goes off, you immediately want to leave. And then you can call the fire department, or you can call the gas company, and they will promptly get someone out to check your CO levels. But if you hear that alarm, make sure you leave immediately.
Yeah, I just wanted to second that. I had to do that recently in the middle of the night. The carbon monoxide detector went off. I'm just really nervous. So we did call the fire department, actually 911, and they sent them out. I even called the station again to check again because I was so nervous, and they came right back out, and I had them walk me through and check each alarm, and basically I got over my fear of like calling for the emergency services. So it's
Yeah.
no big deal to them.
Yeah, and that is what they're there for. So do do make sure that you take it seriously if it goes off. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna come right back to you.
Oh, no. So those are really great questions, and to speak that earlier question, the place, the exact place that
Yes.
recommended of the smoke detectors, I'm confused, is it in the hallway just outside the entrance of bedrooms or within the bedroom itself?
Both.
Oh, you want out?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So you would have it in any common area,
Okay.
like a hallway. Yep.
But then within the bedroom.
Within the bedroom as well. Yeah.
And the basement, is it best to have it like in this, if it's only one, I guess I'm confused about where most effectively it should be placed, like by the stairs, if it's not by the furnace, if it's just in the main common, like the most open area you have.
So uh, placement does not affect how well they are going to pick it up in terms of like, is it too close to the furnace or not close enough to the furnace? Should it be on the wall? Should it be on the ceiling? um, that doesn't matter. No, no. Some of them, the way they work, they plug into an outlet. I guess we do not have that style. And so they will, if your outlet is here, it's going to work fine. If your outlet is by the ground, it's going to work fine. Yeah. Yeah. So
Do the red carbon
I am not sure, but that brings up another good point. You can also get them combination where they do both. They are more expensive. Yeah, one in the hallway and in the bedroom. Yep. Yep. For CO and smoke, uh, if you want to be the most safe.
Do you know if the red carbon detectors can also lose carbon dioxide to clean and expensive?
I'm not sure. The way that they described it on the website, from what I remember, was specifically smoke detectors. Um, but if you reach out to them, I'm sure that they can tell you specifically what they can do. Yeah. Yeah. And so sources of carbon monoxide in your house is going to be any kind of fuel that is burned, is where you're potentially going to get CO. So that's going to be your furnace, potentially your stove. If you have any kind of gas powered heater, yeah, anything that is burning of fuel, if it's incompletely burned, you will have CO, carbon monoxide. And so when you're thinking about space heaters, if that is something you need in your house, make sure you're not bringing in a space heater that is designed for the out of doors. They are not interchangeable, and that will quickly build up carbon monoxide in your house, in the room. And again, that is something that is going to make you feel sick, like you might have flu-like symptoms, and it will kill you very quickly. So make sure that your carbon monoxide detectors are in good condition, and that you do have them everywhere. I think probably a couple people with the newer houses, this should have all already been done to your house when you moved in. I think, but they didn't do it in yours, not the CO detectors. Okay, yeah. So okay, yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, it at a minimum that is what you want. Yeah. It shouldn't. That level should be lower, that it wouldn't set it off. Um, Again, the level at which it's alerting, the alarm is going off, is a high enough level that you would be getting sick, and the amount like that a candle would give off would not be enough for that. Unless you really covered every surface in candles, then you might have a problem. A generator close to the house. So it could, if you have the generator too close to like an incoming air source. So yeah, yeah. So keep that in mind. If you are like, if the storms start coming up in the fall and your power goes out and you do have a generator, make sure, if it's a portable one, make sure that it is far from the house so that you don't inadvertently get uh, the um, byproduct of that, the exhaust of that coming into the house. Okay. Trying to think if there is anything else that I want to talk about there. The CO detectors also have a lifespan, and it's typically 5 or 7 years, I believe. So make sure you're checking those dates also. As I was reading this, I was like, I know that mine is older than that. So I need to get a new one, a couple of new ones. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, there's actually one right here. If nobody is familiar, this is a second floor escape ladder. You can get these at any, like any of the box home stores should have it. They may have it at Meijer and Walmart as well. I'm sure Amazon has them. And this allows you to escape a fire from the second floor, and they store pretty small, as you can see here. Any other questions? Yeah.
fire air, but let's say you don't have egress, you don't have a lockout.
So you should, and this is gets to this idea of having a home fire escape plan. And there is a handout on that. Did they get this one? Okay. So, okay. There are instructions for how to do that here. Um, and you want to, sorry, go ahead. Okay. Okay. So, yeah, thinking about where you're going to get out is very important. You should think about every room having two ways to get out of it. And that first way is usually the door. Well, it is the door. And the second way is typically going to be a window. And you should have two ways of getting out. And like if it's a basement, now by code, it should have an egress window, which is big enough to get you and a firefighter in and out of. If it's an older house, you may not have an actual egress window, in which case you're just going to have to work with a regular window. And again, know where those are if you, in case, you do actually need to get out. Okay. How many fire extinguishers? I believe the recommendation is one on every floor, and you should definitely have one in the kitchen. And so it should be an ABC style. That is the most common for like the household, and that is going to cover you for like wood type debris, like wood, paper, things like that. It's going to cover you from grease, like in the kitchen that you could have a grease fire, and then it also covers you for electrical fires. It is safe to use it in all those applications. They do, yes. We're going to talk about that a little further on, but yes, these also have an expiration date. And in like this one has to be yearly certified, I think. But yes, these also have a life. When you're shopping for one, there are ones that last 12 years and ones that last like 3 years. So if you're going to shop for one, you want to get one, for the money, get the 12-year one. And then these typically have a date somewhere. It's often stamped on the bottom. So this one is from 2021. So yeah, make sure you're checking that as well. Okay. All right. So other potential hazards that you could have in your house are radon, lead, and asbestos. Each of those are too big to go into a lot of detail on. We do have some informational flyers. The one that you probably have heard a lot about in Michigan is lead because of the Flint water crisis. But everyone is going to probably have some contact with lead, unfortunately. The most common is from lead paint or lead in the pipes. So lead is considered serious enough, and the way that it's handled is important. And it's typically only handled in your house by professionals that are certified to remove lead. It sounds like most people have newer houses, but there is a window back here that wants you to turn around and take a look at. This this is the kind of like paint that might chip off and create dust and kids tend to encounter it because it's like windows are about their height, right? If you have a house that was built before the 50s, somebody does, you guaranteed have lead paint on the inside and outside of your house, unless it was specifically disclosed to you that it's had some kind of remediation done. Um, Lead is kind of weird because uh, it's like we all know it's there, and when you go to buy a house, it may have lead, and nobody has to tell you unless they know, and so you're better off not to test, because if you know, you have to tell someone about it when you go to like sell it. So it's kind of a weird system. Um, so yeah, keep that in mind if you do have an older house. Um, if it is in place and there are multiple layers of paint over it, it's typically not a problem if you do have like an older home and it's all painted over. Um, so keep that in mind. Uh, if it is like peeling or chipping like this, though, you definitely want to make sure that you get it taken care of so that you are not regularly ingesting lead. Um, this window, like the way it goes up and down, that can also create lead dust from moving it up and down. So windows are one of the big places that it's important to keep clean. And the best way to do that is to use a wet paper towel or a damp paper towel to wipe off any dust a couple of times a year. It would be a good idea to do it at the same time you're doing your batteries for your smoke detectors. Does that make sense? Okay. It probably is. I don't know. I don't know for sure, but from the age of it, yes, yes. So don't handle that. um, yeah. So, the other thing you might not think about is that, and if you have an older home, this is a real issue. Exterior paint would frequently have lead in it. So there's likely a contamination zone around your house if you have an older house. So think about that when you're like, planting tomatoes and things like that. Like, where do you want to put stuff so that it's not going to be contaminated? Um, I talked to a person that suggested that like all soil is really considered to be not good enough to grow like vegetables for human consumption in. So you should really be like raised bed gardening if you're gonna garden and eat that stuff. So keep that in mind. Uh, so lead testing, you can have it done a couple of ways. We have a lead paint test kit here. If you want to pass this around, um, that is something that you can do at home. It basically has a couple of little vials of liquid in there, and you break it, and then those go together. You shake it a little bit, and then you use it directly on the painted surface to check for lead. You rub it up and down for like a minute. Then it'll have instructions in there, and then if it turns red, it means you have lead. Lead, red. Um, and if you're doing it and you are you believe that there's like or you think that there's like newer paint on top of it, you do have to like cut a little bit of a slit through the paint so that you're testing the lower surfaces. Um, you can also have lead tests done by a professional, and they come in with a little tester gun, and they actually can read it through the paint to see if you have lead. And those are much more specific, precise. It's not just going to give you yes or no, it's going to give you an amount. It's going to give you a quantity probably in parts per million, ppm. So yeah, that is what you would get with that, and you'd get a report. So you can do it the homeowner way or you can do it the professional way. Yes, you can get free lead testing from the city. You can, you just, there's a email request. You go on their website and you say, I want lead testing, and then they'll reach out to you to set up an appointment. I did this when I was doing the research for this. I requested a lead test for myself, and I have not heard back from them yet. So it's probably been 10 days or something. Hopefully, I will hear back soon. I do have an old house, and I'm pretty sure our water service has never been replaced, which is like where the city water comes in. And so it's likely that I have lead in my pipes. So we use filtered water at home. If you have newer construction, lead is less likely to be a problem because it's not going to be in the paint, and it's unlikely to be significant amount in the water. So your biggest potential exposure there is actually that exterior of the house. And that's not necessarily from your house, but it can be from prior construction. Does anybody know that they have a radon abatement system in their house? You've got one? Okay. So Kalamazoo is a high radon area. Radon is another odorless, colorless gas. And it's carcinogenic. It can cause lung cancer. And it seeps up through the soil into basements. And it is important, if you have radon, which we probably all do, to have a radon abatement system in place. And basically what it's doing is it's just venting the air outside in a controlled way to make the radon at a lower level that is safer. If you don't know what your radon levels are, you can also get radon testing done professionally, and you can get it done by picking up an at-home kit. And that will, it has directions. You're going to leave it in like your basement for, 2 days, maybe 5 days, maybe 7 days. And then you send it off to a company and they analyze it and they let you know how much radon you have. And then you may be in a position where if you don't have a radon abatement system, that they recommend you put one in. Any questions about that? Okay. Asbestos is the other one that like you really don't want in your house. There's no safe amount of asbestos to have in your house. And asbestos is more likely to be in older houses, say pre-60s. And there's a few different ways you might see it. The two most common are if you have older heating ducts. They will sometimes be wrapped with like what looks like like a white kind of fabricy kind of wrap. Like stay away. That is asbestos. So asbestos also causes lung cancer. It causes mesothelioma. You've probably seen some of the class action lawsuit commercials. Again, asbestos, there's no safe amount, but if it is currently undisturbed, you don't necessarily have to do anything with it. The problem most people encounter is these 9x9 tiles that are in houses, often in basements. We had it in our basement. Those have asbestos fibers in it, and if you have older floor tiles in your house, just assume there's asbestos in it. And if you can get away with leaving it in place or putting a sealer over it, that is sort of the lowest cost option. Otherwise, in Michigan, you need to have a professional come in and remove the asbestos. And it can get really expensive. Anything else about that? Okay. You guys are like, you have such great questions, but we have like a lot to cover and we're running out of time quickly. Um, so let's talk more about fire safety. We've got our detectors covered. You want to make sure that you get a fire escape plan together. If there are other people in your house, make sure you know where you're going to meet. Make sure that you know how you're going to get out. And really think about, like, go to each room and think about how you're going to get out. If you have kids at home, you know, how are you going to get them out? And it's really important to think about the details of your smoke detectors as well. Some kids in a certain age range, can absolutely sleep through a fire alarm. So it can be helpful if you have kids those age to have a different style smoke detector. It might be someone's voice that says fire, 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 and that can be better for kids of certain ages than just the wah, 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 wah. So uh, keep that in mind. So there's kind of a trade-off with safety and security, and it's interesting that we're talking about both. So for your safety, your windows should be easy to get out of in case of a fire. But for your security, you may want to put locks on them so that people don't break in. When you're coming up with your fire safety plan, it's really important to keep both of those things in mind. You may want to do things like put locks on your windows so that people don't break in, but you have to do it in a way that you are going to be able to quickly get out as well as, you know, kids. Yeah, so think about how you're going to get out. If you have a egress window in your basement, make sure that you check it so that it's working regularly. Again, something that you can do a couple times a year when you're changing your batteries. So there's you want to think about lighting in case of a fire. It seems like these are things that happen at night most of the time. Make sure that you have working flashlights, and that's another good time to check the batteries is when you do your smoke detectors. You can just have like this whole checklist in the spring and fall. Like, I'm going to check the batteries. I'm going to check the flashlight batteries. I'm going to check that I don't have lead dust on my, you know, my windowsills. There's so many things you can check in the spring and fall. If you have security lights outside your house, that can be really helpful for, you know, getting out if you have an emergency. So keep that in mind. How, you know, when you are like, what else are you going to need to safely get out? Something people don't think about, if you're going to have, like, if you have a meeting place or when you're trying to get out of a house fire, you want to meet in the front of the house so that, like, the fire department can easily locate you. This one, you know, uses a tree as a meeting spot. That's a really good idea. Like, everybody knows what that tree is in the front yard. So keep that in mind as well. We already talked about the fire extinguisher style. The ABC is what you would like to have in your house. And placement is important. You definitely want one in the kitchen and ideally one on each floor. Yeah, the most common causes of house fires are space heaters and cooking. So if you are going to use a space heater, make sure that you have a modern one that has the great features, like it's going to have an overheat detector in case, you know, your blanket accidentally falls off the bed and ends up on the smoke detector or on the space heater. Rather than setting it on fire, it's going to get hot and it's going to shut off. So if you are using a space heater, make sure you have a nice new one that is up to code. You know, it's going to have an automatic shut off if it gets tipped over. things like that. Make sure if you have a kitchen fire that involves grease, make sure that you don't put water on it. You really need to use something dry. You can put another pan over it to try to cut off its oxygen supply. You can use I don't want to say that. Never mind. You can use an extinguisher. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, you can use a fire blanket. You wouldn't want to use necessarily you don't necessarily want to use like a kitchen towel or something like that. It's probably just going to catch on fire too. And if you have a kitchen fire, do not be afraid to just leave. Call 911 and get out of the house. Those are your tax dollars, and there's a very small threshold between I should try to fight this fire myself and I should call professionals. So, yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Dryers are another common cause because you can have lint build up, and not just the dryer itself, but the whole system, because you can build up lint in the exhaust tube as well. So that is another good thing to check a couple times a year when you're doing your batteries. Did they really? Oh wow. Uh huh. Uh huh. It was your dryer. Okay. Yeah. Mhm. Okay. Wow. I have not heard of that. Mhm. So yeah, that is a real problem. I've had the more industrial ones. Yes, I've had blankets melt. So yeah, definitely be careful about that. Um, I'm trying to pick and choose the stuff we're going to talk about in the next 5 minutes. Um, so we talked about security lights already. Um, Make sure that you have good locks on your door and your windows so that people can't, break in. Um, One of the things that most people don't know about, your exterior doors, um, the little plate that your door latches on, um, those are typically only installed with screws like that long. So doors are actually relatively easy to kick in if somebody wants to break in. And a really simple security upgrade is to put longer screws in those, and make sure it's actually getting into the wood uh, that's associated with your the framing around the door. You might need like a 3 or 3.5 inch screw, because usually there's like a gap between the framing and like an actual stud between. Um, yeah, so we don't have a door for me to demonstrate that on. Oh, we do. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Um, but yeah, something to keep in mind. Um, the really good example of using plants and shrubs for security, if you have plants and shrubs, make sure that you don't have ones that somebody can hide, you know, uh, hide out what they're doing, like breaking into your house undercover, or that they can actually hide at and then wait for you or someone to come by and then either do like a push in or maybe assault. Like, just be careful that your exterior is not giving people hiding spots to break into your house or to, surprise you or any of your family. Make sure that you're getting your insurance updated regularly. If that isn't something you've thought about, like, you probably have homeowners insurance policy that was written in 2005, and costs have changed dramatically since then. So it's a good idea to check in on your insurance and make sure that you have adequate coverage to like replace your house. If you do have a fire or if you have a break-in, make sure you have adequate insurance to cover that. It's a good idea to have an emergency kit at your house, and that can go along with your, your flashlight, things like that. Make sure that you have an emergency kit for if you do need something, if you do have an emergency. Like the people in Florida right now, I'm sure all wish, they had checked their batteries in their flashlights and everything several times. We are running out of time. Please look over this stuff, and if there's anything that I didn't cover or cover in the kind of detail you want, feel free to reach out to Sam here, and she can pass questions along to me, and then I can get back to you. While we have like 2 minutes here still, does anybody have any specific questions? My name is Julie Ryan. Yep. It is written up here. I can't see that because I'm standing in the way of it.
And you can reach us at education@communityhomework.org. So that'll go to me and I can pass it on. At communityhomework, all one word, .org.
We should add that to the handouts. Oh, nice. Okay. Yep. For smoke detectors. Yeah. And this is just the first in like a 6 class series. So make sure you check out the ones where next week we're doing hand tools, I believe. The next week we're going to do power tools. And the last week we're going to do simple plumbing repairs so that you don't have to struggle with getting a contractor to come out and do a relatively simple fix. Because it's true that contractors don't usually want to show up for small projects. They want to, go to projects where they're going to make a good amount of money. And, if you only need like somebody's time for a half an hour, they're probably, it's going to be harder to get somebody out. So, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, any other questions? Yeah.
So I'll just go ahead and, oh, sorry.
Am I going to do the... Yeah, those are the upcoming ones. Yes. And then there's actually 2 others that Sam's going to tell you about.
So I'm going to go ahead and close out the YouTube stream. So thank you for joining us via YouTube, and thank you for joining us in person. Again, Julie already hinted at it, which thank you very much for such a great class. I mean, there's
Thank you.
there's so many dangers lurking, and it's good to feel empowered to tackle them a little bit and prevent them. I actually put in the request form for the lead testing, so it's pretty easy form to fill out online. Now, regarding the schedule, our Handy at Home Pink series continues for 5 more weeks, 5 more classes every Wednesday. Now you'll notice the time starts a little differently. So next Wednesday we have it starting at 5:30 because we have a hands-on portion. But if you can, come when you can, if whatever your schedule allows. But intro to hand tools next Wednesday. The following is power tools. That's hands-on as well. So that starts at 5:30. Toilet repair and basic plumbing repair is the day before Halloween. Starts at 5:30. Hands-on until 7. So that we have usually typically a hard 7 cutoff. We don't want to get too dark. We don't want you ladies driving home alone, in the dark. So um, also, that's not listed on this schedule. In November, we have our drywall repair on the 6th. And then Julie mentioned a lot of homeowners insurance. We have a homeowners insurance class that following on November 13th. So we have a professional coming in that will tell you all about it. Please bring your questions then. And outside of the Wednesday classes, we do have Tuesday classes. So if you can't get enough of us, please come on Tuesdays. We also have lunch and learns where we provide free lunch. So take a look at our schedule. Again, thank you so much for coming. I thought this was a great class. Hopefully, we'll see you again. And feel free to contact us if you have any questions.